my channel. This is Amber's World. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you found me. And if you are not new here, well, welcome back. Today is a new episode of the Black Heroes and Sheroes of Today interview series. This guest that I am introducing, she is the epitome of what it means to be a great boss. I've had a lot of bosses in my lifetime, and I've told her this, I've had a lot of bosses in my lifetime, but respectfully, she is the first one that I've had that has had like a major impact on my life, who has inspired me to be a better person, a better leader, a better coworker, just an overall better human being. And I thank her so much because even though I no longer work at the company where I met her, I brought back so many wonderful things, so many wonderful nuggets of wisdom. And I can't wait for you guys to hear her story because, she's like my life twin. I feel like we have very similar stories and similar paths. And I'm just excited for you guys to get to know her and see her for the wonderful person that she is. Like I said, I can go on in all these intros, but I'm not. I present to you Llaren Wynn.
So, Miss Llaren, can you tell the people, where are you from?
I am actually raised from Detroit, Michigan. I lived in Detroit all my life, grew up on the west side of Detroit, attended grade school in Detroit, high school, all the way up, until I went away to school, to college. So yeah, originally, reared in the Detroit city limits, within those city limits.
Awesome. And as a woman who is proud to be from the D, could you break it down for me, your academic background?
Absolutely. Well, I attended Renaissance High School in Detroit. So I went there, graduated in 99. I'll tell y'all,
Yeah.
But it was, college preparatory. So it prepared me to go to, I chose to go to an HBCU, Lincoln University, which is the first degree granting HBCU located in Pennsylvania. So I went there and I got my computer science degree, Bachelor of Science from Lincoln. And I came back home after graduating, after 4 years of being away. And I came back home. I sat out for like a year. My mom was like, you need to get your master's. And I'm like, why? She's like, because you don't have any kids, you don't have, I was working at the time. I had been working for about a year, and she was like, you don't have any, just get it. It won't take you that long. Because at that time, my mom had been in school to get her master's. And she had started and stopped because she had me, she had my brother. And it took her, it took her a long time to get that and achieve that. So she urged me to do that. So I started in 2004. While I was working, I was just going to school, at night and online and things like that. And in 2006, I got my master's in business administration. So I got my MBA in 2006. So from there, that's my background as far as my education.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell me, for someone who loves education and did that thing, what was your favorite part about college life?
The one thing that I did really love about going to college and going to an HBCU was just that you learn and you got to know so many different people and you got to have so many different experiences, and you're maturing at a time where you're 18, 19, 20 years old, and you're kind of just coming into adulthood, right? Grownish, right? So you're kind of getting into that. And so just those experiences, with friends and, roommates and just on campus and parties, that's the fun part of it too, and really getting to experience all of that on top of, the educational part of it where, you know, you have your professors that really are after you, like your parents. Like, you didn't come to class. Why are you outside on the yard and you didn't come to class? Like, you know, so that entire experience was just something that, you know, I will never forget.
So with all that education behind
Mhm.
you, let's get into, you know, your career path. Can you let us
Okay.
know, you know, with all that
Yes.
education, you know what your career path has taken you?
So I ended up coming home and actually getting a job with Lear Corporation, which is an automotive seat supplier. And I worked as a logistic coordinator. So I was only just not working for maybe 2 months after I graduated. I started in July of that same year. So I basically went to work right after graduation, and I worked there for 8 years. I did get my master's during that time. And I just kind of, you know, it was a great job, you know, starting out, but automotive just wasn't me. Like, you know, it was kind of monotonous, and I was like, okay, I want to move up. I don't just want to be in the same position, you know. So that's why I did go get my master's, and I had applied for positions and kind of was trying to, you know, navigate, like, how can I move up, you know, in the position I was in and everything. And I remember saying, like, I told my parents, like, I didn't realize the glass ceiling was that low. And so, you know, I would apply for jobs. I wouldn't even get contacted. And I'm sitting in an office, like, adjacent to, like, the people that are making the hiring decisions. Like,
Wow.
you know, so I wouldn't even get a chance to, you know, even prove myself or interview or whatnot. So from there, I mean, it was good. I was there, you know, throughout my 20s, pretty much until for 8 years. I was there a long time in that position, making, you know, good money at my age at that time, but I wanted more. And that was when in '08 was when, you know, like I said, that whole, you know, decline of the auto industry. I had gotten laid off, temporary laid off, but I got laid off. I'm, you know, in my mid-20s, laid off, sitting at home, like, okay, how am I gonna pay my rent? Like, I'm not living with my parents. I have, you know, a car, I have bills, you know, and I just remember being so stressed at that time, you know, just kind of navigating, like, what's going on? You know, what is this? You know, the GM, Ford, Chrysler, those were our biggest accounts, right? And they were like crashing and needed the bailout, you know, and all of that. So I was like sitting at home, and luckily, you know, I'm grateful that I was called back and I was able to survive that time. And during that time, I actually started an entrepreneurial uh, avenue of sorts. You know, I started an online magazine with a friend of mine from college. So I did use that time, you know, while I was just kind of, you know, sitting at home. I did use that time to, like, hone a little craft. I didn't realize, you know, that writing was, you know, a talent that I had. And, you know, I used my background in computer science to build our website, and, you know, and it started out as a blog, but we, you know, really built it for like 2 years during that time. You know, while I was laid off and called back, and things with the layoff period would get extended and things like that. So I just pressed forward, and, you know, like I said, my friend and I, we were doing the website, and then we started growing, and where we were doing like photo shoots with people, you know, and celebrities and stuff. And, you know, then I got called back to work. So I'm working full time, and I'm like flying to New York to do photo shoots like on the weekend. So it was just really interesting experience. And then I decided in 2011 to quit Lear and just go move to New York. Like, I just decided to quit, and I was like, okay, you know, I have my savings, like, let's do this, you know. And yeah, like, I'm gonna try to grow my business. Meanwhile, I'll get a job there, like, I'll work, you know, to make ends meet or whatnot, but, you know, we'll figure it out or whatever. And I went there. I was there for few months, trying to navigate, like finding a place to live and working. I worked at a call center because I had to establish that I had employment. To move in New York, like you have to work somewhere, while we're still trying to like write articles for the website and keep that going and things like that. And then I got a job working temporarily as an assistant, administrative assistant at NYU. So I was working there, just trying to, find my way, trying to find a spot, to live at. And it was crazy. And then around the holidays came and I came home, but I never went back. And, at that time I was just kind of like, wow, I was just down on myself. Like, I failed and, I quit my job. I don't have anything to, show for it. And I actually said that to my mom. And why I said that to my mom, I have no idea. Because she was like, what you mean you don't have anything to show for it? You got 2 degrees. Like, you have a car that's paid for, that's sitting at my house. You have a house full of furniture, apartment full of furniture in my basement. She was like, you have plenty to show for it. And it really took me some time to kind of come to grasp that was like my testimony. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it didn't work out, but I wouldn't change it. I experienced and saw some things, and I think I realized some things. Like I took 2 suitcases with me of clothes. Like, if you know me, like I have a closet full of clothes. That's what my mom said. She was like, you got a closet full of clothes in my house. Like, but I think for me, in my mind, I was just like, I'm living, like I had to wash my clothes every week. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all I had. And it made me think and be grateful for what I do have, and so it was a hard time, but I like talking about it now because it's my journey and it's, my course. And I learned a lot, about fashion and what I like to do, which was getting into fashion. And so I was like, okay, well, let me try to get into the retail game. I like fashion. I like clothes. I like, I want to learn how we get to this point where, people are selecting, clothes for this person to wear at this photo shoot, or how do we get this shirt into a customer's, basket. So I started researching, because I initially thought like, oh, okay, I want to be a buyer, but I wanted to learn the retail game from the ground level, which is being in the stores. So once I came back to Detroit and I was living with my parents and everything, I started working for Walmart as a assistant manager. And I worked there. I learned a lot. It was stressful, but I learned so much about like management, leadership, about retail, about, just everything. I got so much knowledge, and again, the blood, sweat, and tears that came with working at Walmart, but I wouldn't trade it, for the world because of the knowledge and experience that I gained. So I worked there for 4 years actually, and I actually got promoted to a co-manager before I left. And then I left and went to Marshall's because I got a position as a store manager or general manager over my own store. So I'm like the leader of one store. I don't have anyone that's over me. So that was a better opportunity. And I was actually with Marshall's for 4 years before going to Ulta Beauty, which was just a different, because I went from big box and I'm like, okay, let me scale it down. Big box isn't my thing. And then I went to Marshall's TJX Companies, which was an off-brand, brand model. So again, got to learn about their brand model, but I'm like, okay, I want to get into something that I really love, which was beauty and cosmetics and things like that. So that's what brought me to Ulta and, being the general manager there. So I've kind of taken different, course, paths and, what I want to do. And I'm still figuring it out. I'm not going to say I'm like completely, totally figured out on what, eventually, everything I want to do. But yeah, so.
To whoever is supposed to hear this, your story is, it's not over until you're dead. I know that sounds
exactly.
But as long as you're alive, it's never too late.
Right. And your story is what you make it, you know. And like I said, those challenges that I went through, and the challenges that you know went through, and that you're going through, and whatnot, like that's what makes us who we are, and how we come out of it. So I look at every, you know, challenge as a lesson. You know, it was something that I was supposed to get from it. And being laid off, you know, in my you know 20s, to now, you know, being in this middle of this pandemic, and you know, trying to survive this, I kind of like, I'm like, was that what he was trying to show me like 15, 20 years ago? Like, you know, to really like survive what, you know, I'm going through now, you know, with everything and stuff. And, you know, that I can really just bet on myself, and take care of myself, and do what I need to do for me. And I felt like that journey showed me, you know, that yes, you can step out on faith, and you can, you know, you've quit a job before, and granted, you know, it's not the most ideal thing to just, you know, quit something that's comfortable to go into something that, you know, is uncertain. However, again, it's lessons in all of that. And then, you know, I just feel like my vision is a lot clearer. I call 2020 the year of, you know, perfect vision. I feel like the things that I, you know, like I said, I was comfortable. You know, and the comfortability of having a job with benefits and things like that, like, you know, but then to step out on faith and say, you know what, I can do this, and I can do something for myself and what I want to do, and really support myself with what I want to do, not being beholden to a companies and their morals and their, you know, values that, you know, you may be in line with, but everyone, you know, in that structure may not be in line with. So, you know, I just kind of, you know, I take a lesson in everything, and the journey is yours to make it, you know, or whatever. So that's how I look at it. You know, life is life. And like you said, the story is not finished being written until, you know, your death date.
Yes. What do you want to see more of from the Black community?
We have to teach our kids so much more, you know, and I think we all need to, myself included, need to really, really give back, and really, you know, start to show and let them know that they're not alone in the journeys that they take, whatever they decide to take, that they're not alone, and that we're here to, like you said, offer them grace. That, you know, I've made mistakes, like you said, you've made mistakes. And if it weren't for my village to kind of be like, okay, you know, no, like, let's go this way, or, you know, you messed it up, like, let's turn this vehicle around, or whatever, like, you know, where could I have been, or whatever. So I'm really thankful to my village, and I know that I have, you know, a circle around me, and I want to be able to give back to that, you know, what I was given. And I think that, you know, we need more of that. We definitely need more of that.
Awesome. And that is a great way to end. But before we go, it is time to do the rapid fire round.
Oh,
so. Yes. So, what era of fashion do you love the most? 80s or 90s?
So I would have to say the 90s. The 90s is my style. I like that.
Okay. Netflix and a snack.
Okay.
Or a glass of wine and a book.
Look, I'm gonna say Netflix and a glass of wine.
That is hilarious. Let's you said, let me take this option, and then bam. Bacon or crab legs?
Bacon.
Every time. I have yet to have someone choose crab legs. I would choose crab legs. I don't need pork like that, y'all.
Girl, bacon all day, every day.
Llaren, Wynn,
Yes.
Boss lady, forever my boss lady, my big sister. Thank you so much for giving me the honor of your time, because I know your time is precious. I know it
no
is.
problem. I had
You
to
love
do
your
this
time.
too. Yeah, that is
You
true.
love your time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I understand. I know that this is an honor, and I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you. Thank you for letting the people know your story. It's important. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone's story is the same, and that's one of the biggest points of this series.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for doing this series, and I loved it. That was fun.
Yes. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Please comment below and let me know what you think. That's all. Until next time. Bye.